So it's the end of the month and end of Q3. Let's take a look at the charts and see how things are positioned going into the close. Let's start with BTC. As we can see, it looks pretty much nailed on. We're going to hold this 25.2k monthly level as support for a third time. First tested as support back here in June, then last month in August, and of course this month. Only about another day to go. So Saturday is the monthly close on BTC. Of course, traditional markets will close today, so it's their monthly close and quarterly close today. But yeah, it looks pretty good. We're up at 26.9. We were just above 27k earlier. If we go on to the weekly, not too much to decipher from the weekly time frame. Again, last week's weekly candle looked a little bit bearish, but we sort of seem to have recovered that for now. But on the daily is where things get interesting. So I'm currently recording this at about 1 o'clock UTC, as you can see down in the corner. So my analysis may be a little bit outdated by the time this video comes out in the evening. But if we take a look at the charts at the moment, as I say, on the daily time frame now, on Monday I spoke about 26.450 being a key level of resistance for BTC. That was true and held till about, well, yesterday basically. We had this big spike on Wednesday, come straight back down. I thought that looked pretty bearish. However, yesterday, as you can see, we rallied all the way up to about 27.350. Now, the only danger of this area is whilst we have cleared resistance, we have gone right into these previous highs back from the FOMC days in mid-September. And as you can see, we've formed two wicks here. There is a chance that this just becomes another lower high, as you can see. So we had those highs here back for the SEC candle back at the end of August. As I say, we've had the FOMC highs just here, and now we could be making another lower high just here. So we'll have to see how it goes. But if we break it down to the lower time frames, the shorter time scale, the level I'm watching here is 26.9k. So this is a very important level to hold. As you can see, previous support from back here on the 18th September. Again, once we broke that, we went on a bit of a run down, and as you can see, we've been holding it as support ever since this impulse candle from yesterday around 1 o'clock. So pretty key support. I think if we break below here, that's just another big deviation, and then we could be seeing another retest of 26.450. Again, potentially flip it as support as we did back here in mid-September. But on the, as I say, on the lower time frames, that's what I'm looking at, and especially for ETH as well. So Ethereum, again, as I said on Monday, I thought that BTC showing some short-term relative strength against the S&P was going to be short-lived, and that the S&P was going to continue to fall. BTC was going to follow it, and the relative strength that ETH had been shown against BTC was again just going to be temporary, as it has been all year. Whenever there's been a bit of strength on ETH versus BTC, it's been short-lived and ended up rolling over. However, that hasn't happened, or hasn't happened as of yet anyway. The S&P has gone on a bit of a rally, which we'll go and touch on in a second, which caused BTC to run, and Ethereum has been strong against BTC. As you can see, it's 1% up today versus BTC, which is in the red. We'll cover ETH BTC in a second, but if we just take a look at ETH USDT, as you can see, we managed to hold this 1583 crucial level, had a couple of wicks below it on Sunday and Monday, and we've had this rally, but probably off the back of the Ethereum ETF futures announcement. I think that was yesterday, but as you can see, we got above these previous highs here around 1650. Potential bullish retest here, as you can see. However, there is a chance that this is just a bit of a blow off, bit of a spike before we come back low. It could be a little deviation. Until we get this daily close confirmed, this is still all resistance. So there is a chance that this could roll over. And again, if we go down to the lower time frames, the important level I'm watching is this 1666, as you can see. So it's actually clearer on the 1 hour. So it was, if we zoom in, is this level here back on the end of August. Resistance, where you see the spike here on the 6th of September. Resistance here again on the 18th of September. Big rejection there. And again, we had rejections yesterday, which was obviously Thursday. Couple of rejections before we ended up having another impulse this morning at about 8 o'clock. So if this comes back down, gets back below 1666, I think that becomes a deviation, and we end up getting another sell-off similar to what we've had before when we've had rejections at this level. So again, another key level to watch. And as I say, if we do lose 1666, then that opens up the chance of getting back below that daily level of 1651, and this just becoming a deviation as opposed to a break and hold. So something to watch out for. Of course, the bullish case scenario is that we hold those 4-hour levels on BTC and ETH, and then we have another leg up. So if we take a look at ETH BTC, so again on Monday I talked about a potential bounce here off 0.06 and the chance that we may end up topping at having a local top here at 0.061 based on this daily level here, the start of this uptrend, support here on the 17th of August, support all the way here in the middle of September before breaking down. So I thought this was a bearish retest. As you can see, it was a bearish retest yesterday, but we've gone back above it today, and we're now testing that bearish weekly trend line that has held for quite a while. In fact, since, was that the summer? No, wow, it was September of last year. So yeah, a long time. So is this a potential local top? As I say, it was that 5 weeks of downside, little impulse back up to the bearish trend line, and then rejection. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see if this Ethereum dominance over BTC is short-lived or not. If we take a look at dominance, BTC dominance, as we talked about before, starting to form a bit of a downtrend here on the weekly timeframes, lower highs and lower lows. But as I keep saying, until we see a monthly close below 48%, I'm still favouring BTC over ETH. But that will flip eventually. As I say, the level I'm really watching out for is 0.053. That's when I think Ethereum will truly, take the lead over Bitcoin. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's get on to the TradFi then. S&P. So as I talked about Monday, we're threatening to close below this monthly range high, or previous monthly range high, which would make this one big deviation. As you can see, we've spiked back above it. If we go down to the daily, in fact the weekly looks like quite a bullish candle. It zipped all the way back up, and on the daily, so we broke down from this daily range low, and it was all looking pretty bearish, but it looks like we've just filled this gap where the contracts changed, and now we're making our way back up. Potential for a bearish retest here at 4371. However, as I say, today is the close of the month, close of the quarter for the S&P. So really, any close above 4327 is pretty good. It means that we've held this level as support, and we've not completed that deviation. So potential for this to be a local bottom before another push up for the S&P. If we take a look at the dollar, this is also pulling back today, or the last 2 days, which is why S&P and Bitcoin has gone on a rally. Again, against my predictions, I thought we were going to carry on rallying up to 107. S&P was going to hold below that monthly support and create a deviation, and BTC was going to follow it. As I say, it hasn't panned out this week. These things happen. But on the dollar, as you can see, this level is a clear level of previous resistance, potential support pulling back into. So there is a chance that we pull back into here, make a higher low, and then rally up to 107. As I say, we go on the weekly. We did clear the 105 weekly resistance. We're looking now for this to turn as support. And if it does, as I say, could see a rally up to 107, which wouldn't be good for risk assets. So it's really interesting to see both the dollar and the S&P both on crucial levels of support. Which one's going to bounce, which one's going to fall through. We'll obviously get our answer over the next week or two. But new quarter, new month on Monday. It'd be very interesting to see how everything pans out. With all that out of the way, let's take a look at some altcoins. So a couple of trades that I mentioned back on Monday. So I mentioned a potential short on AVAX from this level of 909. Invalidation being a daily close above, which unfortunately we got yesterday. But this could just be a potential bearish retest of $9.30, as you can see. So we actually entered this on the Earn While You Learn. We got in a bang on 909. Now, rather than close it on invalidation, what I've actually done today is I've moved stop loss just above today's highs at about sort of $9.38, so that if we do get some end of month, end of quarter volatility and we actually roll over, then we're still in the trade. We're not being stopped out, but stop loss nice and tight so we don't take a full loss. So Again, another potential entry trigger here is if we get back below 909, then that makes this just a deviation, and you could probably short that all the way down to $7.50 potentially. If you take a look at BNB, this has just been chopping around. Again, we're still in this short on the Learning Crypto and Why You Learn. Got in at 219, so stop losses at break even. If it does squeeze up and stop us out, then so be it. But as you can see, just chopping around between 205 and this resistance at 219. No real trade trigger on that for me, unless of course we get a daily close above 219, hold it at support, then I think you could go for a pretty decent long, potentially up to this level here at about $2.30. DOT hasn't really been doing anything all for the last 2-3 weeks, as you can see. So again, no real trade trigger for me unless we get down to $3.86. That's a potential long, or if we close above $4.27, again another potential long, maybe up to about $4.67, the start of this downtrend here. But for now, no real trigger. Matic just stuck in this mini daily range between 53.5 cents and 50 cents. So again, unless it gets to one of these extremities, I'm not really interested. Same with NEAR, stuck between $1.16 and $1.06 until it gets up to either those two levels. I'm not really interested. VeChain, this was another short we entered and talked about on Monday. We entered this on the Earn. We got this daily close below support here at 0.01645. Again, this was running on the thesis that Bitcoin was being held under support at 26.4, and that the S&P was going to break down further, dollar was going to continue ripping, etc. Unfortunately, yesterday we got that rally above resistance, so again invalidated. But what I've done the same thing as with AVAX. I've put stop loss just above the daily highs. I think it's at 1710. So if it does continue to rally, we'll get stopped out, but for a lower loss, or a smaller loss, I should say. Whereas if we start to roll over, as we have sort of been in the past hour or so, then we'll still be in the trade and all happy days. So again, another potential trigger for this trade is just getting back below 0.01645. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. With ZIL, very interesting. If this daily candle closes below 0.01711, as you can see, I think that looks pretty bearish. It's had multiple attempts to get over. Big spike today. And then, of course, depending on what happens with BTC and Ethereum on those 4-hour levels, this could be a pretty good short as well. But in all honesty, apart from the trades that are already open, definitely not looking to jump into any trades today or over the weekend with the end of month, end of quarter volatility. As I say, keep an eye on these 4-hour levels intraday for BTC and ETH. BTC 26.9k and ETH 1666. If we get 1 or 4-hour closes below those, then I think potential deviations have taken place and we could end up going a bit lower. If they hold, then maybe we get a bit of a green weekend, especially with the S&P being closed. So that's what I'm looking out for. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop us a comment. Let us know what you'd like to see on the videos in the future, etc. Enjoy your weekend. Try not to be glued to the screen, and I'll be back on Monday with some fresh charts. It's a new, as I keep saying, new quarter, new month, new week. So I'll have some fresh charts, fresh trading ideas, and I'll obviously let you know all the things you need to look out for in the macro world next week. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.